Hello, and welcome back to another character creation for Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm Pazzi, bringing to you two original characters today in preparation for two very different playthroughs of the game. So I'm going to need your help in choosing which one will be my canon Inquisitor before Veilguard comes out, because I already love them both so much and can't stop thinking about their stories, so I know it's going to be a really difficult decision. Maybe that will change as I play, but we'll just have to see. So I already made Aisling. Her episode 0 character creation video is up on my channel, and now I'm ready to make character number 2. So let's get to it. So I want to vary the race and class of all my Dragon Age player characters, and since I just played a human hawk in Dragon Age 2, and Lyra, my warden, is a dwarf, that leaves us with elf and Qunari. Aisling is my elf, so that means this character is going to be my Tal-Vashoth. I have been fascinated with the Qunari ever since meeting Sten in Origins, and now that I finished 2 and seen the Era Shock, I'm even more into them. I think the religion is deeply flawed, of course, but there's so much about the philosophy that just makes sense and that I respect in a really profound way. I'll talk more about that as we play, though. For class, I don't have a canon dual-wield character yet, but I'm thinking that's what I'll play first in Veilguard. Hawk is my archer, Aisling my two-handed warrior, Lyra use mostly sword and shield, so that leaves probably my favorite class in the game, the Mage. Mages are so versatile, and just generally they're a pivotal part of the storyline, so I personally think Mage is the best class for this game, and I'm excited to play one again. Well, for the first time on this channel. So here is our summary, but I'm going to do a bit of a rewrite in a couple places for this character. It says, you are Tal-Vashoth, a Qunari who has rejected the Qun and never even lived in Qunari lands. But this character actually was born in a Qunari colony, but as she was coming of age and her abilities as a mage began to manifest, one Tamasrin, who are caretakers basically, took pity on her, recognizing that because the Qun has an inherent fear of mages, this character would have been effectively lobotomized or made tranquil. The Qunari have a process that uses a poison called Cosmetic, which is used to, as it's put here, make mages into pet slaves. Either that or she would have been used as a Meravas, which is a mage whose mouth is sewn shut and they're not even considered people, they're used as weapons. That option I think is less likely though, because Sten tells us they don't have women in their armies. Meravas are dehumanized though, so I might be wrong about that. If there's a female Meravas anywhere out there that I've missed, let me know. But either way, yeah, the Tamasrin knew her fate would be tragic, so in order to save her from what they call re-education, the Tamasrin helped her flee the colony. And she's just this teenager out in the world with nobody and these magical talents she doesn't know what to do with. So eventually she finds the Valokas mercenaries who take her in, and there's an apostate there who helps train her, and even though she probably wasn't cool with what the mercenaries had to do sometimes, because this character is going to be a sweetie, she stuck with them out of safety and because they were the only people who showed her any care other than the Tamasrin. So yeah, that's the outline of her backstory. She's going to be very kind and giving, not naive though, because she has traveled around long enough and seen enough of the world to know not to trust it. Plus, she certainly hasn't had it easy being Qunari and a mage. The description says that she has had to ignore the fearful looks from people, and that's probably weighed pretty heavily on her, making her quite self-conscious. And even though she is a mage, I think she's going to be a bit frightened of magic, honestly, seeing it as a kind of stain or a curse because of some of the internalized prejudice that still lingers from her time under the Qun. Oh, and for her romance, because this character values things like courage, selflessness, also order, I think she's going to go for someone traditionally heroic and immediately be attracted to our Grey Warden companion. I promise I will eventually romance a woman on this channel. I just couldn't resist the Blackwall drama. I also think they're going to bond over the fact that they've been alone for so long, you know? I think it'll be sweet to watch them develop a bond. Okay, like I did before, I'm going to set up this character and then I'll come back to show you her sliders and talk about why I made the choices that I did. All right, here is my Adar. I think she's so pretty, and she looks freaking cute in her Bethany-style starting gear. Okay, so sliders. I started with the first head, but then moved to face shape 2, which is more oval. Skin tone is number 4. I think 3 is nice too, but skin tones in the game have a tendency to look a shade lighter than they do in the character creator, and I wanted to make sure she was gray, not white. This complexion is a modded one with a bunch of freckles turned all the way up, and I think it makes her look adorable. Eye color is the lightest blue, but I changed that on the next screen. I have a combination of modded horns that have a kind of fancy silver decoration and a ponytail hairstyle loaded in here, which I think looks kind of youthful. And even though the character creator starts us with black hair, most of the Qunari have white or gray hair, so I went more lore-based there. Now for Qunari, it starts us with the American voice, but just like I explained why I think the American voice works better for a Dalish character, I actually think the British one works better for this Qunari.
As long as the job gets done, I don't care about the rest.
Because while many Qunari do have more American-sounding accents in the series, she was a child when she left the colony and has since been traveling all over Ferelden with the Valocast, probably staying mostly in the cities and interacting with people there, so she most likely would have more of a traditional Ferelden accent, which includes many regional dialects, but almost always sounds British, so yeah. I do also have a mod that will ensure her exertion sounds are going to fit this voice in the game too. Sorry, I've been talking about the voice while going through these head and ear sliders. I have some retextured Isabella earrings in here, so I wanted to make sure her ears aligned with them, but I didn't change the shape too much. For cheekbones, I brought them in just a bit. The Qunari faces have pronounced features, and she's still snatched, but I just made her face a little softer. I kept her brow pretty wide just to accommodate her horns, and then for her forehead, I just made sure that it still matched her hairline. And for eyes, I feel like most of the Qunari eyes make her look shocked for some reason. So I came over to the fourth shape, which I think looks the best. I love an almond-shaped eye. You know, with the smokiness from the complexion, it makes it look quite glamorous as well. Qunari eyes are also pretty hooded, so there's some natural shadow there. I did rotate the eyes all the way so that the outer edges are pointed up, like almost cat eye-like. And these are also modded eyebrows, which all looked really good. It was hard to decide, but I left them in the lowest position. Then for eye color, I went bold with it. So we've got purple on the outer iris part and a kind of seafoamish green, blue. I think actually I might go a little bit more green. Yeah, I like that on the inside. So I like that contrast between those two colors. Beautiful. Now the nose. Many Qunari have long noses with higher nostrils. What do we call that? Roman? I don't know, no shapes. Well, I kept those features kind of, but I did move the tip in and up, so now she has more of like a button nose. With the nose, bridge, eyebrows, eye shape, I think it makes her look kind of concerned or worried, and I actually like that. I think it fits her character, and I mean, she's gonna be sensitive, you know. I feel her on that one. And the nose tip position. Actually, I want to bring that up even more. Why do I do this? Just leave things where they are. I could spend so long in a character creator. It's not even funny. Okay, yeah, nostril size. And no broken nose or anything. Now, mouth and jaw. I went with the third mouth shape, which is a little downturned at the sides and a little pouty. Mouth width, I always take out to the widest or the almost widest point, and I kept the lips as pretty full, about where they were when we started. I brought the jawline in and up. I still like a stark jawline, but I rounded this one out just a tad. Looking at her now, I think I'll elongate her jaw even more. Yeah, let's bring that down just to maintain that oval face shape. I'll keep going through the sliders here, but the next section is scars, and this face texture already has some very subtle scars on it, but I didn't add any, so we can skip over that entire section. And then after that will be makeup, and just generally I've tried to keep the color palette for her in the purple, blue, silver kind of shades, so that's what you'll see in the makeup. The eyeshadow is pretty dramatic, as you can see, since there's already some built into the complexion, but for the rest of the face I tried to tone everything down to be a bit more natural. Like I went with gray rather than black for her lashes. Her cheeks are more red than purple because with the skin tone I think it shows up more pink, which makes her look like she's actually blushing, which is a nice, shy little thing. And the intensity is down on most all of these sliders, except for the eyeliner. I always leave that all the way up. So I'll finish showing these sliders, but I'm going to start talking about this character's name. I always try to go based on game lore and character backstory when picking a name, so for a Tal-Vashoth character, we could just go with a human-sounding name, because technically this isn't a Qunari. Qunari would be named for their jobs, and Tal-Vashoth, who have left the Qun, often come up with their own name. But since this character's story begins in Qunari lands, and her last name, Adar, is a Qunlat word for a fire cannon, I'm going to stick with Qunari and name her using a phrase that I heard the Arishok say in Dragon Age 2. As he's about to duel Hawk, he says Meravas, which translates to "so shall it be." And so I've headcanoned that when the Tamasrin was helping this character leave from the colony, this is what she said to this young girl, because the Tamasrin knew that she was going against the Qun by doing this. She wasn't supposed to see the child as an individual, but rather as a nameless part of the community. But she did it anyways, because she believed it was the right thing to do. And she knew her fellow Qunari would punish her or outcast her for that, but so shall it be. She was accepting her role, fully knowing the consequences. And so Meravas took up that name to honor this person who really, in essence, saved her life. I also like Meravas Adar together because it means like, all right, I shall be a weapon. But now she gets to decide how she's going to use her powers, which, I don't know, I think fits perfectly for who this character is going to be. And for her nickname, I'm going to call her Mira, which I also think is pretty adorable. And yeah, with that, I hope you enjoy getting to know my girly Mira here. I will let this first scene play to finish out episode 0, and she and I will see you in episode 1.